Boxing taught me how to love. There's a fire in me that's like, I'm ready to go again. I'm not walking out there alone. I've got a whole tribe behind me. You want to die being angry? Or do you want to die being happy and joyful? When you're feeling really sad in your darkest moment, all it takes is for someone just to say, are you okay? Boxing's all about being relaxed, being calm, being patient, and seeing. If you're not calm and relaxed, you're in danger. When you feel someone loves you and cares about you, you take yourself to a whole nother level. You can perform on the biggest level that you could ever do. I had lost who I was. My daughter saved my life. I refused to give up because my daughter chose to fight for me. So why couldn't I fight for her?
My name is Kyla Colbin. You're listening to my interview with Mea Motu, and this is the Hunger and Heart Podcast. Enjoy the show. Hello, my name is Kyla Colbin, and welcome to episode 13 of Hunger and Heart, a podcast on the intersection of wild ambition and fierce compassion. My guest today is Mea Motu. Mea is a professional boxer whose nickname is the NightMea. She's a 5-time national champion across 4 weight classes, the most titles held by any female Kiwi boxer. In 2022, she broke a 14-year New Zealand record for most national titles. In 2023, she captured the IBO World Super Bantamweight crown, defending it twice. This past January, she challenged Unified Champion Ellie Scotney in the UK in an historic bout for 4 major belts. She did record her first professional loss, but earned global respect for her courage and tenacity. Mea is also a mother of 5. She is a survivor of domestic violence. She is an advocate for mental health awareness and an ambassador for the mental health charity I Am Hope. In this conversation, we talk about her Māori identity, how she was able to reclaim herself in the wake of an abusive relationship, and the connection between boxing and love. So here you are, my conversation with Mea Motu. What's your experience with wild ambition and fierce compassion?
Wild ambition. Oh, what's my experience? When I see something, I really want it, but then also it tests me and challenges me, and it plays with my mental emotions, but also my physical, because I start stressing and I don't know how to have self-control. So it ain't easy. It's very tough. But without that ambition, I wouldn't have that hunger. So I'm my own worst critic, and full ambition is a really strong word for me. And it's the biggest goal, because that ambition feeds the hunger for me. I'm such a trier, and I hate not trying. And if I don't have that ambition in front of me, then I kind of just give up.
Mm-hmm. Everything that I have learned about you, read about you, listened to about you, has told me that you are hungry, that you are ambitious, that you're like, get out of my way. I'm coming after this, and I'm gonna get what I'm coming for. And I love this so much about you. And one of the things I've heard you say is I've heard you talk about your cornerman. And
yes.
that the first question that he asks you when you come back to the corner in between rounds is, how are you? Are you okay?
Yes.
The premise of this podcast is the myth that people carry that caring for people is somehow counter to that hunger and that ambition that I see in you. And here you are in the midst of arguably the most iconically aggressive moment that an athlete can be in. And your cornerman's first question is, are you okay? Why is that important to you? How do those things come together to let you go back out and bring what you need to bring for the following round?
Oh, because it's just that reassurance to be it's like when someone checks up on you to say that you're okay, it's like wow, they love me. They care about me. It's like, whew, of course I'm okay. It just fires me. It brings a fuel inside me that it's like, wow, it's amazing. It's like when you're feeling really sad and really down in your most darkest moment, and all it takes is for someone just to say, are you okay? You just want that validation of someone just to check up on you, because it's that insecurity that you lack in yourself sometimes. So you're constantly self doubting, and it's a flip of a switch of someone just saying, are you okay? And it's just like, I'm okay. He's checking I'm okay. And then boom, there's a fire in me that's like, I'm ready to go again. Because you feel it's just it's so lovely and it's so nice and it's so heartwarming to my heart to know that someone cares, that they don't care about just what I'm doing. They care about me as a human being, as a person, that I exist in this life. It's not just about what I'm trying to accomplish, it's about me. And they're seeing me for who I am, not just for the sport.
I want to pick up on this phrase that you just used, which is that I exist.
Yes.
That I can be seen and validated without having that attached to any kind of particular performance.
Yes.
Is there an irony in there that being seen and cared for who you are without having to perform on any level is actually what lets you perform at a higher level? Is that how that works? Or have I
Yes.
misread it?
Nah, you're so correct. Like, it's just knowing that they're checking on you, and then all of a sudden your heart feels so fulfilled, you can be your true, authentic self. There's no hidden agenda. You're not hiding from nothing. And then your body becomes so relaxed and calm that you can perform on the biggest level that you could ever do. And you know what, that your body's capable of doing anything. But when it's under stress, and when I mean your body's under stress, it's this, your mental mind frame that can stress your body out even more. So if you're stressing your mind frame, you're stressing your heart. When you stress your heart, you stress your body and everything around you. So you're stressed, you're worried, and you can't be your full potential. But when you're calm and you're relaxed, and when you feel someone loves you and cares about you, you just release everything that you possibly can do, and you take yourself to a whole nother level. It's amazing. It freaks me out just to like, oh my gosh, I did that. But I did that in the most happiest form, you know, embracing who I truly am.
I love this so much. I have so many questions for you, and I feel like we could talk for hours. I
Yes.
do want to make sure, because I feel like it's a little unfair because I've been researching you, but of course, my listeners have not all been researching you. So I wonder if we could back up a little bit.
Yep.
You started boxing when you were 13. What led you to begin boxing in the first place?
So my mum, she saw that I was getting more aggressive at school and I wasn't listening and I was just being really rebellious. So she wanted me to take my anger somewhere else. And also she knew that I was very fit and strong. So she just wanted me to take out my anger and tire me out as a teen.
Mhm.
And so she chose boxing and I gave it a go and I was like, oh, wow, this is really challenging. It took me to a place that I was like, oh, I feel uncomfortable. I was like, whoa, this is a challenge. So, it started with my mum and she really pushed me to give it a go. And I was like, okay, why not give it a go? And I ended up being like a person who would punch and run away, like catch me if you can. That was the type of fighter I was. I was like, punch, yeah, run away. I'm not getting hit. I was one of those fighters.
I've heard you describe the difference between amateur fighting and professional fighting. That amateurs punch and run away, and professional, you've kind of had to go stronger on it. What was it that led you to begin professional fighting?
I never wanted to give it a go because I honestly said when I did amateur, I was like, I'm never doing pros. That's for strong people. I was like, that's small gloves. And I was like, people get hurt and knocked out. So like, I was like, I'm not doing professional boxing. But it was my coach, Isaac Peach, who just kept nudging and keep pushing and telling me, like, oh, no, you're going to be a pro fighter. And I was like, I looked at him like, is he crazy? Is he for real? Like, did he just say what I think he did? And he did. He meant it. And I knew he meant it, but I was just like, one fight, that's it. So I was just like, I'll give it a go. You know, what's the worst that could happen? I get knocked out. Oh, well, then it's not for me. So I gave it a go, and I was bloody nervous at like before. Like, I was excited, but then at the same time I was like, I wasn't nervous for the fight. I was more nervous like, oh, I'm gonna embarrass myself. That's how I felt. I was like, oh, I'm gonna get knocked out, like, because I'm not made for this. And I jumped in the ring, and it was the first punch the girl threw, and I thought, what the heck? Is this for real? Is that all she's got? I was like, I'm definitely going to punch her even harder. So I did. I tried to punch her harder, and I really loved what professional did for me. Like, it was more of a mental. It wasn't so much about physical. It was actually like I felt so empowered, and I was like, "Ooh!" I was like, "I like this," and it was a lot more slower. It's not as fast. Like, it's fast, but it's more. I felt like I could be more controlled and not be so rushed, and like I just saw the art of how to be calm and relaxed in that fight. So it just really gave me a whole new passion for professional boxing. I was just like, wow, I used to look at it like it was the biggest puncher. But no, it was actually it was teaching me about life and how to attack life outside the ring, not just inside the ring, and the attitude I need to carry and how I need to be and stop stressing and stop thinking the world's against you. So that's how I found the love for professional boxing, was that first fight.
Can I dig into some of this?
Yes.
Some things, specific things I heard you say. First punch she throws, you're like, is that all you got? You felt empowered from professional fighting. You've been quite open about your journey
Yes.
leading up to this point. What in your history was it that gave you the context to go, is that all you got?
So when I was a kid, I grew up on a little marae, beautiful, and I was a kid that grew up in bare feet, rough and rugged, and we played a game of bull rush. And bull rush was like you run it straight at someone, and if you can't get past them, you're out. And so that's how I learned to become really tough and strong. And my cousins would always tell me, like, harden up, stop being a sock. So that's how I became really strong. But then, throughout my life as a teen, I was about 17, 18. I had my first child and I met my first partner. And, years went on and I went through domestic violence, domestic abuse. And he bashed me, tormented me mentally and physically. It was very traumatizing and I don't wish it upon anyone. So it was really tough and I had to handle it and battle through those challenges. And so when I came to a professional fight, which I was really scared of getting knocked out because I've been hit by a crowbar, I've been smashed by a hammer and, so many things, tools, and I've had fists thrown at me. I've been gang bashed and everything. So it was quite intimidating for me to go to professional. That's why I was so scared to go as a professional fighter, because I know what a punch felt like and it was very painful. And I've been knocked out, concussed to the ground, being knocked out by concrete and a steel cap boot. So that's what I thought punching was like for me. So when I first got hit for my first pro fight, I was like, is this for real? I've been hit way harder than this. And so I just switched and I was like, wow, if she's going to hit me like this, oh my gosh, what else does everyone have at me? And it just made me feel so strong. And that I was like, I can handle anything that comes at me right now. I've been through worse. Like, what was I complaining about? So that's where I really believed in myself and really backed my strength, because I've been through that trauma and that abuse.
Are you comfortable for me to ask you a bit more about that
Oh, yeah,
part
of
of your
course.
life?
Yeah.
So one of the things that we know is that domestic violence is typically not a everything's great one day and giving you the bash the second day. Like
Yeah.
it often is something that grows over time to where there's no one moment when it was obvious that I should have left or that this was not okay. Was that what it was like for you? What was it like for you when you started that relationship, and how did it end up in that state?
So what I realized for me is that he had groomed me at an early age, and I didn't know he was grooming me, and he started controlling me, and I started allowing that because I was that kid who was fiending for a male's attention because I had my dad walk out at me at 16 years old with no explanation. So my male role model had gone, and so I was desperate for a male in my life, and I found my first boyfriend and fell in love, and I thought I knew what I was doing because my boyfriend became the role model and the person I looked up to. So he started grooming me at such a young age that I fell into that trap. I fell into his cycle and I started following his ways and his rules. And I started thinking, is this what life is all about? Because I started pulling away from my own family and I was drawing more to him and his family and his friends that I got so fixated in him and his family that I had lost who I was. I didn't understand what life I had got myself into. I thought it was the normal to me because I had everyone around me was in that exact same rut. But I didn't realize that I was in a bad environment. And when I did try to escape from that bad environment, it built more fear in me. So I started living in shame and embarrassment. So I silenced myself and I didn't know how to get out because when I did try get out, I only got abused even more. So it was quite intimidating. And he built that fear of me not running away. Because when I did run away, I was punished more and they found me. So I stayed in it because I was too scared to get out of it. And I didn't know how to get out of it. Like, no one prepared me. I wasn't taught this stuff at school. So how do I get out? How do I control my feelings? He's someone that I thought I loved, and like I couldn't just let that go because it's all I knew. And so I was stuck in that cycle, and it was very malicious and very ugly. It's not a scene I wish for anyone, but it's all I knew. And I thought that's what you call love.
So what changed?
What changed was my daughter. I kept trying to run away. I kept trying to fight, but I still kept getting beaten up, stubborn as I am, still kept getting beaten up, and I kept falling back into that cycle. The change was my daughter, and now she's 16, but at the time she was about 7 going on 8, and it was Waitangi Day, which we celebrate for us as Māoris, and me and my daughter just finished having a feed. We walked over home, and he was inside my mum's house and bashed me to death in front of my daughter and pulled a knife out and tried to stab me. I'll never forget it. As he tried to lunge and stab me, my daughter jumped in front of that knife. And that was probably the most scariest and most challenging time of my life. And I never want to see that again. To know that the courage and strength that my daughter had to fight for my life, I thought, why is she fighting for my life when I'm the one that should be fighting for hers? So that was the flip, was her fighting for her mother and giving up her own life to save me. She runs to the neighbours. I've been hit in the shoulder, but he should have stabbed me to death. But if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be standing here today. And so it's my daughter that has saved my life. And that was the flip. And I fought him. Did I win? No, I didn't win, but I didn't stop fighting. And I voiced it. I started telling my family. They started supporting me and backing me. And I just kept fighting him. Him and his gang kept fighting me. But I refused to give up because my daughter chose to fight for me. So why couldn't I fight for her? So I had to show courage and strength. And she showed me courage. She showed me what strength looked like, what true courage looks like and what fear is. Fear is like fighting for your life. And I was like, why am I sitting here giving up on them when they're sitting here fighting for me? So, that's why I'm so fearless. I'm willing to give anything a go because I've seen the worst. I've seen my own baby risk her life for me, and which I feel is like that's the most scariest thing in life for me. Is watching. I don't want my children dying before me. So if I can control that, and which I can, and be the better person and show them that I'm standing here, not them fighting for me. They should be living a kid's life, not an adult's life.
Did you say she was 8 years old?
Yeah,
That's incredible.
yeah.
You said that was the flip. And then you started fighting, standing up for yourself, fighting back, and your family began to support you. Are you saying that you were literally fighting him, like physically fighting him, or fighting back in the sense of like, I'm not going to put up with this anymore? And what did your family's support look like in kind of tangible terms? And I'm asking these things because I imagine there will be people listening who have direct experience of domestic violence, or who have loved ones who are experiencing this. And the more tangible I think we can make it what support looks like, the more
Yeah.
they might have tools in order to go, okay, what am I gonna, what can I do in this situation?
Yeah, so I had support from my family. They locked in straight away. But it took me time because I was also scared to open up. It took me over a few years to actually start telling them the full extent. I never told them the full extent, but I told them a bit of what I had been through. And I was fighting him physically, and I was fighting him through the system, because he would show his face up at my house. He didn't care about the law. He didn't listen. So I would fight back to show him that I'm not weak and that I'm not afraid of you. I'm not scared and I'm not living in fear. And then also I would call the cops. But when I called the police, I didn't just call myself. I got others to call for me as well. So I've got evidence, because if it's just me, then I just look like there's no evidence. And then so I look like there's only just her complaining. But if I have others complaining and making a statement for me, then I've got that support and I've got that to fall back. So when it does go to court, it's like, oh, she's not just making it up because she has something malicious about him. There's other people supporting me. So I made sure that wherever he hurt me, I had people around me to prove what he was doing to me, because when I went to court, I always lost. And so I started telling people, like, be there for me. Oh, hey, did you see this happen? Can you please report this to the police? With my family, I would contact them. And all I needed from my family was just the love and the support and just being there, being present for me. That's what I needed, and supporting me with my kids, because it wasn't easy. It was very challenging. It was really hard. So I needed that extra support of when I did feel down. My family was there to pick me up. Was it hard? It was definitely hard. I had to keep fighting a whole gang to try keep surviving, but I refused to give up. There was days where I wanted to give up, but I had great family that kept telling me, you've got this, you can do it, which helped so much when you've got that support and you've got those people. Because there's so many times where you doubt yourself and you're like, you feel so lost, you feel so confused that you just want to give up. But when you've got good support that tell you, don't give up, you've got this, fight it. And so you believe it and you start fighting and you refuse to give up.
I'm hearing this kind of thread coming through from what your cornerman tells you in the ring in the middle of a bout, and what your family is telling you when you're going to court to fight for your rights and your freedom and your safety and your security and your children, that in my work, it's one of the things that comes up a lot is how often we misunderstand empathy as I can fix this for you, or I can, I can help you solve this problem. And what I'm hearing from you kind of repeatedly here is how powerful it is to just have people see you and believe in you.
Yeah.
Like I'm hearing this support is there's some tangible stuff in there of be my witness, come to the court with me. And
Yes.
there's a huge thing in there of just see me and believe me and
Yes.
know me.
Yep. Understand me,
Yes. Yeah.
not where you want me to be at.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're 100% right.
Um, I'm thinking about this in the context of understanding you and your Māori. And I understand that you did not grow up with the reo, but that you've raised your kids with the reo and the connection to the marae.
Yes.
Having not grown up with that, what was it that drove you to believe it was important to give that to your children?
What made me made sure that my children know their identity and knowing that they are Māori is it's part of who they are. And like for me, I felt so lost in who I was, and I was searching for someone, and it was right in front of me, and it was my identity. And I didn't want my children to miss out on that opportunity to understand their language and find and seek who they want to be. I always would go to the marae and listen to Reo Māori, and then all of a sudden to be disconnected from it hurt me. I lost who I was. I forgot who I came from. And it's such a powerful thing because when you connect with any culture and you understand it, it's such a beautiful thing to really witness and to be like, that is me. I come from that. It's like a superpower. It's like for me, it feels like a superpower, and it's made my children connect to finding who they really want to be, and just seeking and finding and searching their where they come from, their language. It's something special, and it's for me it's magical. And my kids have said to me, "Thank you, Mum, for allowing us to speak our reo and learn our language," because they found who they want to be, not what I wanted them to be. I gave them that opportunity to seek and find something that they didn't know. And the good thing about culture, it forces you to actually go and find it because you're searching and you're like, wow, okay, I'm interested. Oh my gosh, I connect back to this. Oh my gosh, this is where my nan, this is where I get buried. Oh, this is where my great grandfather built the marae. And it just makes something special for you because you're just like, wow, I get to say that that's my great grandfather. Oh, wow, I I come from this place. It's a little town, you know, but it's special because all your ancestors grew up there and that's your bloodline. So you have every right to go back there and understand who you are, what you want to be. And that's how they found it. They really found that culture. And I missed out on that. And like, I look at it now and I'm just like, sometimes my culture makes me cry because it makes me so proud to be Māori. It's just like, wow, I feel the strength and the courage and the love that we have for our land and for our people. We're all like, especially us being Māori, we never close the door on people. Our marae is always open to anybody. We're always open, and it's such a beautiful thing. We're all about our people, and we're all about looking after and protecting our land. And that's so beautiful because that land has been passed down to generations and to my generation and my kids' generation. We get to see the paddocks. We get to see we get to go diving in the sea, grab our actual kai and live off the land and be grateful for what we have. Our ancestors fought for that. So it's so beautiful. And my kids get to know the history and they actually get to live in it and be right in it. So that's why I find it so beautiful to find your culture. And if you don't have a culture, go make your, like, find your own culture. Like, there's so many, like, even for me, like, I've got my two youngest babies who are half Samoan. I've got no Samoan in me, but I say I'm Samoan, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna create my own culture too. I'm saying I'm Samoan because my kids are half Samoan, my girls. And so I'm like, oh, yeah, oh, I want to find out more because it's my kids, and I want to know more about, their identity and finding out their language of being Samoa, the culture, and how everything operates. Because then my girls can choose, oh, I want to be Māori, or I want to be Samoa, or I want to be both, and I want to respect both cultures. And so it's a beautiful blessing for me because I'm just like, wow, I get to find out even more about a different culture and understanding it and saying that I come from there. So for me, it's just magical to have a culture, and it's really important because it's where your mother came from, and your mother's mother, your great grandfathers. It's passed on through generations, and I truly believe that's part of your identity because without them, you wouldn't be born or alive.
It's so beautiful what you're saying, and I feel the power of it as I hear you say it. Did I hear you correctly that you spent time on the Manoa as a young girl and then you got disconnected from it? Was that when you moved to Auckland? Was that what happened?
Yes, correct.
Hmm.
So when I moved to Auckland, I fell into the trap of society, of the English world, and it was a shame. I started feeling embarrassed and ashamed to be Māori because the stigma was like, oh, they're hoary. They don't wear shoes. Because we didn't. We didn't
What
wear
is
shoes.
Hori?
Hoary is like we're very rough and rugged. We don't care what we look like. We wear holy clothes, and we like to be all dirty. So that's what hoary is, like, just really rough and rugged. Like, don't even brush your hair. Just wake up, roll out of bed, and walk out. That's how hoary we are. That's what we call hoary. So, that's, for me, that was the normal. But then coming into Auckland, like, they didn't like, you had to wear shoes, and you had to dress a certain way, and you had to wear uniform. And so that was very uncomfortable. And then growing up around buildings, because where I come from, it's just paddocks and ocean and living off the land, where here in Auckland, there's just massive houses, buildings, and it's everywhere. And so it's very crowded, and it's not what I'm used to. So I struggled to adapt to that lifestyle. And then also growing up back home, we always did like a prayer, which we say in Māori, before we start school and when we finish school. And when we walk into classroom, we take our shoes off. So when I came to Auckland, it was no prayer, keep your shoes on, wear your uniform, and dress appropriate. And I was like, oh, wow, I'm so not like this. I was a kid who wore gumboots or bare feet and wore my holy clothes. And I loved it. And people didn't care what I wore. They saw me for me up there. As coming down here, I had to dress a certain way, and I wasn't being true to who I am. So I was being something I'm not. And that was a struggle.
It's interesting because I hear your definition of Hori, and the mental picture I have is Pakeha, non-Māori people judging you for going, you don't know how to dress, or you don't know how to, you're dirty or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And then I hear you say, in your world, you would have a respect for going to a place of opening with a karakia, with a prayer, taking your shoes off before you go in, closing with a karakia, with a prayer to round out the experience. And it's so fascinating to me that these things, which from each of those cultures would be perceived as shows of respect or care. So here you've got this kind of Pakeha culture where respect and care is, I'm going to wear the uniform and I'm going to keep my shoes
Yeah.
on. And Maori culture, the respect and care is, I'm going to create the space for us to have the kind of hui that we're about to have, or the korero we're about to have, the dialogue we're about to have. And the clash of those two things coming together, creating an environment where actually what you're doing is not only not the same in terms of the way you're showing respect, but kind of opposite. Like, I'm
Yeah.
not going to open with a karakia, which is like a disrespect
Yes.
to you when you're coming in. I want to dig into this concept a little bit more. You've mentioned your nan and your nan's nan and your nan's
Oh,
nan.
yep.
And I'd like to read to you a quote from you, if that's
Yes.
okay.
Yes, that's
Um,
cool.
so this quote was ahead of your fight that you had this past January, an
Oh,
interview that
yes,
you
when I was
did.
in the UK. Yes.
Mm. You said, not just for me. I'm doing this for everyone here in Aotearoa, but also for my gym, because everyone says that I sacrificed alone, but it hasn't been a sacrifice alone. My whole team has sacrificed with me. They've done this for the last 4 years. They've pulled me, pushed me. And man, if you only knew what I went through, the amount of times I wanted to give up, but it was my team that pushed me and drove me to believe in who I am and that I could do it, because I would doubt myself so many times. And they'd be like, nah, we've got this. And this is similar to what I heard you say with your family when you were leaving your relationship.
Yeah.
And the thing that I'm specifically curious about right now is that a lot of people would consider boxing to be an individual sport. And of course, what you've just described is not individual in any way. Can you
No.
speak a little bit to the misinterpretation or misunderstanding that people have when it comes to boxing, that this is like, that it's not an individual sport? Like, what's it like for you? How do you think about it in terms of the team aspect of boxing?
So the team aspect of boxing is, for me, it's everything. Like, because people have the stigma of like boxing is a lonely sport. Like, I've had so many people say it's lonely, and like, you're in there by yourself. Of course you're in there by yourself, but you can choose to be lonely or choose not to be lonely. And so it was never lonely for me. I had a team who was always, I always trained with them. They were always there for me. When I felt down, I could go to one of my teammates, or I could go to my coach and talk to him. Like, my coach wasn't just a coach. He was like a father role model for me, someone I looked up to, someone who protected me, and always said to all of us as fighters that no matter what, he goes, we're not here just for fighting, we're here to support each other as family. And that's how I saw it. So, like, our gym ran different because our coach always made it clear to us to say, we work as a family, we operate as a family. So, if you want to be a boxer, we support each other no matter what. Come to each other's fights. They couldn't come to the ones overseas, which is understandable. But if we all fight in Auckland, then we've all got to support. We've got to be there for one another and help each other. And that's what we did. So I love the role model that my coach put out there for us. He was someone I always looked up to, and the person that he stayed true to his words. It wasn't about just us as a fighter. It was about us working together as a team. Because he believed if we have each other, we can get through this. We fall together. We all rise together. And so that was ingrained in me. My coach made sure we all knew that. So he always said, when Mea wins this world title, she doesn't just win herself. She's winning this all for us together. And I believed in that. So I was like, wow. And so my team was always there right behind me. And when I finished my fight, they all ring me and they're like, ah, they're there to pick me up. When I was sad, my team was there. So I was lucky that I had a really good, strong coach and a team that really based their values on family. It was all about family.
It's so beautiful. Can I just share with you the mental picture that I have of this? So, I've been in Aotearoa for 20 years now.
Yeah.
And when I first learned about the concept of pepeha, which is for our listeners here, like a form of introduction that's kind of traditional in the Māori world. When I first learned about it, there's a common structure that Pakeha white people like myself tend to learn. Which is like, this is my lake, this is my river, this is my mountain, whatever.
Oh, yes.
And of course, that's a very superficial understanding because it's not about, but like when I first started saying it, I would say that my river is the Hudson River because that was the river next to where I grew up. But of course, it's nothing to do with that. It's this concept of this river is my ancestor. This is part of who I am. This is part of my whole legacy, all of my other ancestors together. And the way I've come to understand it is that when I'm sharing my pepeha, when I'm sharing this introduction, basically what I'm saying is, you think you're talking to me, but I'm just the face of all of this that sits behind me, all of my ancestors, all of my whenua, my land, my river,
Yes.
my people. And this is what I'm hearing you say is, when you step into the ring, and it looks like it's just you, but you're actually the face of this like army, not army in
Yes.
a funny way, but like my friend Danielle would say, you're rolling 10 deep. Like, someone thinks that they're just, oh, all I have to do is take out Mea who's in front of me. But actually, no, it's the whole crew that sits
Crew.
in behind there that people need to be
Yes.
aware of.
Yes. That's exactly right. That is so how I like when I walk myself, I'm not walking out there alone.
Mm,
I've got a whole tribe behind me. You may not see them physically, but they're with me spiritually.
mm, mm. Um, you mentioned your coach. Uh, Again, one of the things you've been open about is one of your coaches, Alina and Isaac's son, Zen,
Yes.
who is, how old is he now? Is he 11, 10, 11,
He's 10 now.
10
Yeah.
years old? And you've been very open about this, is that he plays quite a serious coaching role for you. This is not a like, oh, sure, you can help around the kitchen. This is like, no, he's like a legit coach for you. What is something or some things that you have learned from him that you weren't getting elsewhere?
Oh man, where do I start with him? Um, just the passion and the belief that he had in me. It's just, it's the love, showing genuine love like I'm his big sister. And never thought like someone could love me like that. He really showed me what love actually looks like and what it feels like. Because I thought love was like two couples being together. That's how I thought love looked like. But love is endlessly. There's so much more to love. And Zen showed me the love that he had for me. It was just, it's undescribable. It was just so gentle, so kind, but also so passionate because he really showed that he really believed in me and he cared. He just would say to me, "Are you okay? Okay." And he'd talk me through, like, "Okay, we got this." And he's only 10 years old, and he's talking to me and he's like, people will look at him and be like, "What's this kid is too young to be talking like this." But he's so in tune and he was so protective. He'd be like, "I don't like them because what they just said about you, that's just disgusting and so rude. How dare they talk about you like that?" And it was just so amazing just to have a boy who only knew me for like a year and then all of a sudden love me like that, care for me and nurture me. And he's only 10 and he's caring and nurturing me like that. He showed me what love looks like and what love feels like. He showed me genuine love. And I was just like, wow. I thought I knew what love looked like, but the greatest thing he taught me was love. So, that's It's the reason why I'm so passionate about our next generation, why I'm so passionate about our kids, because he showed me what our kids are missing and what our kids actually need, because that's what I actually needed too growing up. That's what I was missing. I was missing love.
Hmm. I think a lot of people think of boxing as violence. Like for a lot of
Yeah.
people, they just go boxing equals violence. And you mentioned that you started boxing kind of to get attention from your parents. My mother hated hated that I boxed. It was a huge point of contention between us. And uh, one of the things that I always struggled with was to convey to her that it was not about the violence. That wasn't the point of it. So specifically, the thing that I find fascinating here is where so many people would have a shortcut that says boxing equals violence. And I'm hearing for you a shortcut that boxing equals love. Is that a fair? Do you associate boxing with love in your mind and your heart?
So a lot of people think that boxing is violent, and I understand why. But what you see is not what we're doing. Because boxing is all about being relaxed, being calm, being patient, and seeing, being very, like, you've got to see it. And if you're not calm and relaxed, you're in danger. You're stressed out and you're angry. Is that how you attack life? And that's when I started learning. I was like, boxing taught me how to love, how to be compassionate, how to have understanding of who you are and being proud of what you do as a human being, because you really understand your true self when you hop in that ring. Like people say, oh, it's easy just getting in there. It isn't. It's the hardest thing. It's so challenging. It tests you and it puts you in a place where it's like, oh my gosh, I'm going to get knocked out. But if you think like that, then it's going to be like that. But if you actually bring yourself to positive light and be at peace with yourself and love who you are, and because boxing teaches you to accept who you are. Because if you can't accept you, then how are you attacking life? You're obviously attacking life depression and you're being angry and aggressive at life. So you're not actually enjoying it. Where boxing will teach you to humble yourself and just be calm, be relaxed, love life and enjoy it and embrace it. Because one flip of a switch, you can lose your life just like that. And do you want to be angry? Do you want to die being angry? Or do you want to die being happy and joyful and you enjoyed every moment? And that's what boxing's really taught me. That's what I
I,
love about it.
I love what a representative you are, because everything you say is so consistent with my experience, and it's often not talked about it in this way. And the way that I always think about it is that, when you talk about being calm and being present and seeing, I think about it like Neo in The Matrix. Did you ever see the movie The Matrix?
Oh, yes.
Right? Like that moment when he's like holds out his hand and all the bullets drop, and then he's
Oh,
just like they're attacking him, and he's just like so calm, right? And just like they're like,
yes.
and he's sort of like removed, like observing what's going on as he's, beating off all these agents or whatever. And that's the mental picture I always have of, to get to that place of like, I'm so in this moment, I'm so calm here. And it was the same thing I always loved about boxing. I always said it was like playing chess while people are throwing lawn chairs at you. And
Yes. Yes. That is so right.
so here's my next question. 6 months ago,
Yeah.
you had your first loss.
Yes.
They say that success is a terrible teacher. You had had nothing but success up until that point as a professional boxer. What was that loss like, and what did it teach you?
That loss was, I was still happy. I was full of joy. I didn't need validation from anybody. I only needed validation from myself. I did everything possible. I made sure that I trained really hard, did everything possible for that fight, prepared for that fight. And I didn't get the result, but it wasn't about the result. It was, for me, it was about me just in enjoying it and that I did it. I made it and I lost, but I didn't feel like I lost. That's what everyone else thought. Like everyone, to the world, it looked like a loss, but to me, it was a win because I made it. I did it. I succeeded my dream. That was what I wanted to do. I made it, and I won. For me, that was like I still won. I don't care about the result, but I got here. I done it. I completed it, and to people, it looked like a failure, but to me, that was like, no, I'm a champion. I did it. I finished it and I completed it. And I completed it with joy and love. And that's the greatest thing that I could do for myself.
Amazing. Amazing. You have a fight coming up. Tell me about that one.
So, yeah, I've got a fight in 1st of August. I'm fighting for the WBA Oceania title against Sarah Drovelin from Australia, but she's originally from Finland.
Amazing.
So
How are
I'm
you feeling?
excited for that one. I'm feeling excited. Like I'm just really enjoying it and just embracing it. The good thing that losing has taught me is just enjoy life, embrace it, and enjoy everything you do. Because you only get one shot at it. You only get one chance of life. And so your life is precious. Enjoy it while you got it. So, I have my sad days, but I just live in that moment and embrace it. And then I'm back to smiling and enjoying it because life is too short to sit in there and dwell in such pain. Like, it's just like, why do you want to carry that pain? Just let it go. I know it's hard to let it go, but when you're at peace with yourself and at peace with who you are and being proud of who you are, man, you're unstoppable. You're creating your own greatness. You don't need anyone else to tell you how great you are. You only need greatness from yourself and validation from yourself.
Amazing. My final question for you is, can you tell me a little bit about the work you do with I Am Hope?
Ah, so yes, I do work with I Am Hope, which is my charity that I support, and I'm very passionate about. It aligns with who I am and what I've been through as well. So, I Am Hope is a charity that helps with mental health and mental well-being for our younger generation, our young kids, because because we have so many suicidals, young kids as young as 9 years old committing suicide. So it's really sad. And, to make the change and the difference, we need to start with our kids because our kids are already getting depressed and they've got no coping mechanisms, no tools of how to deal with pressure, feelings. They don't even understand their feelings and emotions. And so that's what I Am Hope is all about. It's about our mental health, looking after our kids' mental well-being, and just having someone to talk to and check on our kids to make sure that they're okay. So we go into schools and tell kids about emotions, about our feelings, and how to deal with their emotions and how to express and how to cope. Because most of our kids, even us as adults, can't even cope with our feelings and emotion. So for me, it's something I'm really passionate about because I struggled to express. I always stayed silent and stayed hidden when I was a kid. And I truly believed I struggled, and because I lived in shame, it was because I was silenced as a kid. No one wanted to hear me. And so I'm real passionate about it and I'm fighting for the next generation. So I Am Hope is what I stand for and what I'm all about.
Amazing. What a beautiful gift. I think often we don't realize that navigating our emotions is not something that just is, guaranteed or automatic. It's something that we have to be taught and something that we can learn and get better at. And so what a gift to these young people that you're doing that. Matt, just a couple of things I want to say about our conversation. It's been such a
Yes.
joy to talk to you. There are a couple of things in particular, many things that I find inspiring about you, but a couple of things in particular. One is, I think, for anyone listening who has been through domestic violence to go, this can happen to anybody. It is not about how tough you are. It is not about how smart you are. It is not about how connected you are or whatever. That it can happen to anybody. Anyone can find themselves sucked into that situation. So to hear that you, someone that I think people would regard as tough and strong and capable and intelligent, that you had been through that is, I think, validating for people who might feel ashamed that, like, if they were somehow tougher or stronger, that this wouldn't be happening to them, to know that it can happen to anybody. And then on the
Yes.
flip side of that, to go that someone who's been through what you've been through can come out of that with the joy and the optimism and the love that you bring to everything that you do, to go, wow, it doesn't matter what I've been through. This kind of embracing of life's beauty is also possible for me. So I just wanted to acknowledge
Yes.
that in you.
Oh, thank you. That's so true.
Mm. Maya, it's been an absolute honor to spend this time with you. I've really loved our conversation so much. And I will just say, I am fully in your corner. I will be in your corner for August. I'm in your corner forever, fully cheering you on. Thank you so much for
Oh,
everything that you do and for who you are. I really appreciate it.
thank you. And thank you for having me. It means a lot to me too.
Thank you so much for listening. Please do let me know your feedback. You can reach me on hello@KylaColbin.com. And Maya, what an inspiration. There goes a woman who does not give a fuck. It feels like with everything that has happened to her, nothing can touch her. And she is just dwelling in joy. Like, I felt so uplifted after talking to her. And I hope you felt the same after listening to this episode. If you are experiencing domestic violence, we do have a link to resources in the show notes. And please know you are seen, you are loved, and you are worthy to reach out and get help. A huge thanks to Celebrity Speakers for supporting this episode. If you want to book Mea for a keynote and leave your audience buzzing, Celebrity Speakers are the folks to reach out to. Thanks again for listening. Hunger and Heart is brought to you by the Crusaders Leadership Program. Whether you're coaching under fives or a professional team, we all want the same thing: to build a culture of trust, to get the best out of your people, and to grow players into leaders. The Crusaders Leadership Program lets you get up close and personal with some of the greatest rugby legends of all time. People like Sir Wayne Smith, Sam Whitelock, Kieran Reid. You'll connect with a global group of ambitious, caring coaches from a range of codes and backgrounds. And most importantly, you'll gain skills and techniques to drive impact and outcomes for your team. The Crusaders Leadership Program is a 2-week, high-intensity virtual experience. It is delivered exclusively online, accessible from anywhere. Hunger and Heart listeners get 10% off the full price of the program. Use the code HUNGER at checkout. You can find out more about the Crusaders Leadership Program at crusadersleadership.com. That's crusadersleadership.com. Hunger and Heart is created by BOMA and the entire BOMA team, including Tito Bernal, Ray Jangle, Hannah Hudson, Johanna Coxon, Sunil Unka, and me, Kyla Colbin. Thanks for listening.